how I can deal with this issue, I would love to hear it, truly. But talk about some toxic habits. Yeah, I know better, and I fall into these traps all the time. But what's the point of that? How far in the hell is that going to get you? It ain't going to get you very far. So stop it. This information is from lifehack.org. And they have some good info on their website, but I can't help it. I just think the name is silly. Anyway, not that they asked. Not that they asked. But the first toxic habit you really should dump immediately is dwelling on the past. Now, I have gotten a lot better about this. I used to be terrible about this. But you know what? You don't live there anymore. And you know what else? You can't change it. Whatever you did, or maybe something you didn't do, you're going to have to find a way to come to terms with it, because there's no going back. You know damn well you can't go back and fix that. You're going to have to find a way to let it go. And you know, there's a lot of things you can do for yourself. You can do yoga. You can dance. Both of those are really good for helping you work through suppressed emotions. You can keep a journal. You can meditate. You can pray. There's a lot of things you can do for yourself that's not going to cost you any money to help you get past your past. Number 2, you need to stop indulging in toxic relationships. Don't surround yourself with negative Nellies. Why would you do that? If there's people around you who you feel are just dragging you down, then you either need to cut ties with them if that's at all possible. And you know what? Sometimes it's not. Sometimes, unfortunately, it's a family member or maybe a coworker. And you have to deal with them. You have to find a way to deal with them. Then you know what you got to do? You got to set some boundaries. And is it going to be easy? No. You're going to get a ton of pushback from the people who've been walking all over you. But you know what? What else are you going to do? You're going to stay in that toxic relationship and keep allowing it to be toxic? Look, people treat us how we allow them to. And you know, I'll be honest, this is something I struggle with because I have a really horrible habit of projection. And if I decide that somebody is a good person, it doesn't, I don't want to say it doesn't matter how much evidence they show me to the contrary. But I have a hard time, once I've decided that I really like somebody and that they're a good person, it's hard for me to accept the fact that I was wrong and that they're just maybe a complete horse's ass. A good litmus test for dealing with other people, it's very simple. Do they lift you up? Because if they don't, why are you spending time with them? Truly. Life is short. You don't have the time, energy, or patience for that crap. Number 3, toxic habit that you really need to dump, making excuses. You know what an excuse is? It's a lie you're trying to tell yourself. Which sucks because you know it's bullshit as soon as you try to tell it to yourself. But, you know, it's just fear. We hide behind our excuses. We hide behind the lies. But, you know, you're not too old. You're not too late. You're not too whatever insult that you put there. Oh, I'm too this to do that. Well, you don't know you're not. No, you're not. Are you going to walk the Victoria's Secret catwalk if you're 5'2.5" and chunky and in your 50s? No. But you know, that's not an excuse. That's just a reality. But you guys know what I mean. The kind of things that you tell yourself, like, oh, I can't do that. One of my favorites, I had somebody tell me recently, I'm too old to lose weight. I'm sorry, but bullshit. You may not want to make the sacrifices required to lose weight, which is a completely different conversation. But you're not too old. You're not too old to take better care of yourself and to become healthier. You're just not. That's so silly. Number 4 thing that you really need to stop doing is trying to fit in. I used to try to fit in. I used to try to fit in so bad. And you know what? It just made me unhappy. And all it left me surrounded with were fake people. Why? Because I wasn't being real. I was trying to be somebody I wasn't to fit in with people that, honestly, looking back, I don't even know why. They weren't the kind of people I really wanted to spend time with. But, you know, young and stupid. What can I say? But you got to do you. You got to do you. And then you know what? The people, your tribe, the people who like the same things that you like, the people who have the same beliefs that you believe, they'll find you. They really do. Gosh, y'all, especially with social media, it is so easy for you to find people who are into the same things that you're into. Quit trying. Don't dampen your sparkle to fit into somebody else's ideals. Don't do that to yourself. You deserve better. And frankly, so do those other people. They don't want to hang out with you. English is my first language. They don't want to hang out with you if you're just being fake and phony. Nobody likes that. For the longest time, I used to hide the fact that I absolutely freaking love skulls because I was like, oh, you know, kind of middle-aged woman. Well, you know what kind of middle-aged woman likes skulls? This kind of middle-aged woman. I love skulls. It's just what it is. And once I quit trying to hide that aspect of myself, it's been so fun. Like people, I'm the easiest person in the world to shop for. Just buy me something with a sugar skull on it. And I am delighted. The people that you need to be around, they'll find you if you just be yourself. Besides, you need to be yourself. There's the other people that you're emulating, they've got their hands full trying to be themselves. So just be you. Number 5. Oh, this is a struggle for me. You've got to stop beating yourself up. It's pointless. It's absolutely pointless. All it does is it makes you more depressed. It makes you more anxious. It makes you sad. Well, why in the hell are we doing things that make us feel depressed, anxious, and sad? That's absolutely stupid and ridiculous. Don't do that to yourself. Look, if there's something that you're really unhappy with, guess what? You have the capability to make change. You are very capable of looking at your life and saying, you know, this is not my best aspect. Then fix it. Work on it. But don't beat yourself up about crap because it doesn't get you anywhere. You're literally just a hamster on that silly little wheel in the cage going nowhere at all. Don't do that. And you're expending about as much energy. And it's such a weird emotional battle. So just stop it. Just stop it. Number 6, and a lot of people may not see this as a toxic habit, but you know what is a toxic habit that you need to fix? Crappy sleep habits. If you have a lousy sleep pattern, it's going to have a tremendous impact on your life. You know, it's funny because several years ago, I didn't know my hormones were as trashed as they were. I literally was not making melatonin, which is what helps you sleep. In fact, I wasn't making like any of the hormones that help you chill out and go to sleep. And I lived for 2 or 3 years on like 4.5 to 5 hours of sleep a night. I don't have any idea how I functioned. I really don't, because now if I get less than 6.5 hours, I am just incredibly cranky and bitchy. And I will own that all day because I am. But sleep or lack thereof, it has such an impact. It impacts your cognitive ability. It impacts your moods. It impacts your response time. It impacts your productivity. So develop some good sleep habits. Make sure your room is cool, dark, and quiet. Now, in the winter, living 120 miles as the raven flies from the Arctic Circle, dark and cool is never a problem. Ha 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 ha. But in the summer, I have blackout curtains. But you know, there's enough light that gets in around the edges. It'll wake me up. If I roll over and I'm at the wrong angle and that just little sliver of sunlight hits me in the face, I'm awake. But your room should be cool, dark, and quiet. And you really should turn off your electronics at least. I've read everywhere from 30 to 90 minutes, but at least 30 minutes before you go to bed. You really should shut down the electronics. Your electronics, our electronics, they can screw with your circadian rhythm, which makes it harder for you to get a good night of sleep. Now, that being said, I actually talked to someone about this. He's a counselor, and I was like, well, but what if I'm on my phone to look for a meditation or to pull up a book on Audible that I can go to sleep to? And he's like, well, that's different because your intention, you're not looking to go and just scroll. But if you're scrolling your timeline or you're playing games, you're keeping yourself activated. Don't Don't do that. You've got to get sleep. You have got to get sleep. Number 7, bad habit you need to let go of. You got to stop letting fear run your life. Most of the crap that we get ourselves worked up about, it doesn't come to pass anyway. One of my gurus put it, I think he is a lion or a tiger, but he put it pretty bluntly. Unless you're being chased by, I always say bear because I'm an Alaskan, so unless you're being chased by a bear, or unless somebody's literally threatening your life, what the hell are you so afraid of? Embarrassing yourself? So the hell what? Everybody embarrasses themselves. Look, if you're not willing to take chances and you're not willing to face your fear and put yourself out there, you're never going to grow. So if you're not willing to face your fears, if you're not willing to take that step outside of your comfort zone, then guess what? I hope you're really happy with where you're at, because that's exactly where the hell you're going to stay. You got to live your life, y'all. You got to live your life. Now, if you have serious depressive issues, please, please get some help. There are people out there who cannot bootstrap it. They've got serious mental health issues. And, don't judge them for that. Because they're there for the grace of God. Truly. You're just fortunate you're not in that situation. On a side note about that, I remember I just had a flashback and I felt really guilty. So, because I'm beating myself up about the past, but when I was younger, I had never seen migraines. No one in my family had migraines. Well, my friend's mom had migraines. And I'll be honest, I wasn't real charitable about it because I was like, it's a headache. But you know what? Now I have migraines and holy shit, it's more than just a headache. But what was my point? I had a point. I don't know what it was. Okay, moving on. Moving on. That's embarrassing. Number 8, toxic habits you need to get rid of. And this is one that I still struggle with. I've gotten better at it. But I'm probably one of the most ridiculous, sappy, sentimental people that you will ever encounter. And I want to keep all the things. I seriously, I need to go out in my shed and get rid of this because I've talked about it before in the past. I have a box in my shed that I have drugged from Alaska to California and back again. And it's got some high school memorabilia in it, but there's a ton of pictures or coloring book pages that kids I used to babysit for when I was in high school gave me. Well, you know what? I have no idea where any of those children are. Hell, they're not children anymore. They probably have children of their own by now. But I always had a hard time letting go of that because I don't have children of my own. So every time I go through the box, it's always, but this is the only one of these I'm ever going to get. I'm not going to have, I'm not going to get any more of these kinds of things. But that being said, what's the point of having them if they're in a shed, in a box in the shed? It's not like I'm enjoying them or appreciating them. So I need to get rid of them. Get rid of old unusable stuff. If you don't use it, get rid of it. If it's really sentimental, but it's something you don't use, take a picture of it. Then you can look back on it and you can refresh those memories. But, don't put the memories onto the object. The object is just a thing. It's not the event. It's not, for me, it's people. But those things, they're not the people that they belong to. They're not the people that gave them to you. So you need to learn to let go of these things. A good way to look at that is if you're holding on to something out of a sentimental value, but it's not something that you like, you're just holding on to it because you kind of feel guilty, you need to ask yourself, truly, would the person that gave it to you, I'm assuming a loved one, or it probably wouldn't mean that much to you, would they really want you to keep it if they knew it wasn't bringing you joy? Something to think about. Anyway, finally, habit number 10 that you need to drop immediately. You have to stop comparing yourself to other people. It's wildly inaccurate, okay? You have absolutely no idea what's going on in that person's life. None. Maybe if it's someone you know really, really, really well. But most of the time we compare ourselves to people who we perceive as having higher status for whatever reason. But you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. You don't know what kind of personal battles they're fighting. You don't know what their inner demons are like. You don't want to compare yourself to them. For one thing, we are usually comparing like our chapter 2 and 3 with their chapter like 40. So of course you're going to come up short. Of course you are. They've put in a lot more work to get down that path than you have. When you're 40 chapters in, someone else is going to be at the beginning and looking at you and going, well, damn, how did she do that? If you want something that if you want to achieve something that someone else has achieved, or if you want I want that car like my neighbors got, then figure out how the hell they got it, and you follow in their footsteps. Look, if you want to say you want to write a book or something, go online, look at your favorite authors. I can guarantee you there's going to be stories all over the place that explains how they got from point A to point B. And that's for just about anything you want to do. That's one of the beauties of the digital age. You can find that kind of information usually fairly easily. Success leaves a trail. You want what that person has? Figure out how they got there and follow in that path. But you got to know, comparing yourself to other people, it's a losing battle. It's a guaranteed way to make you feel inadequate and inferior, and it's silly. So if you have to compare yourself with somebody, if you just can't stand it, then you need to compare yourself with people who are a lot less fortunate than you are, so that you'll remember to be grateful for the blessings in your life, because I guarantee you, you've got a lot of blessings in your life. Anyway, I'm really hungry and I need to go finish cooking my pork roast. It's the recipe is to make it the outside super crispy. So you pull it out, tint it with foil, let it sit for a little bit, and then you throw it under the broiler for like 20 minutes and it gets, oh, it's fantastic. If it wasn't for pork shoulder and bacon, I would probably never ever eat pork. But those two things keep me hooked on eating pork. But anyway, look, I don't have all the answers by any stretch of imagination. All I know is I used to be so unhappy and so consumed by my health issues. I couldn't see anything positive in my future. And what the hell kind of person do you think I was? I was so negative. I was so depressed. I was suicidal for a couple of years. I really was. And now I'm known as somebody with a really good attitude and as somebody who's resilient and reliable. Do you have any idea how hard it is to be reliable when you're up to here with health crap? But I try. I try to be a good person. I try to be reliable. I try to be kind no matter how I'm feeling. I was going to wrap that back up to contact me, but I don't remember how. So, I'm on a roll today. If you got any questions, especially if you have questions about dealing with health issues and how you're going to, what coping mechanisms can you put into place, drop me a line on Twitter. I'm very responsive, at Alaskan Courtney. I try to be very responsive. I won't say I always respond, but this is what I'm passionate about. That's why I do these videos. Because when I was first diagnosed, which, not that you asked, but my first diagnosis was fibromyalgia. The other stuff came several years down the road. But I remember looking and looking. I wanted somebody like me. Somebody to say, okay, yeah, you got kind of a raw deal, but so the hell what? What do you do with it? You got to make the best of it. But I didn't find that. Now, granted, this was some time ago, but all I was finding was, oh, I'm so sick and my life sucks. Well, I'm sorry. I don't think my life sucks. I have days that aren't great. My life doesn't suck. I'm not an unlucky person. I'm a freaking very blessed and fortunate human being. I just have some challenges, but you know what? We all do. Mine are just a little more obvious than others. Anyway, y'all got questions about that stuff, drop me a line. I will be back Wednesday. Gosh damn, I had to think about it. I will be back Wednesday at 5 o'clock Alaska time. Y'all have a great evening. I'll see you then.